So you might have seen some of our posts on social media where we've been booking in some really big names such as NHS, Ford, Lowe's, Chevrolet, all these guys we managed to book in for our clients, Nicola Corp, just to name a few. The way that we do this is actually pretty simple. We've done it for our installers, and our installers have actually got jobs over the line with big names without actually necessarily having that much social proof. And this is how. So first of all, it all starts with brand image and how the brand is perceived by the end customer. What is the first thing that someone does when you get in contact with them? Any guesses? Well, obviously, they're going to check out your page. So that's a really important thing. Checking out, making sure that your branding, your online presence is dialed in. Just even posting content like this now builds authority, also just shows that you know what you're talking about, essentially, and you're not a ghost and you're not some weird scammer on the internet. So this is an example of a client that we've been getting a few jobs for recently, and we've done his branding for him. There's a few things here, your website, which can sort of allow you to be positioned in a way where these bigger names will be attracted to what you're basically selling. So first things first is it needs to funnel. So it needs to be CRO optimized. And that basically means there needs to be clear next steps on what the customer needs to do. They don't want to be lost in a maze of a portfolio of, they don't even know if they're booking in or they're buying a solar inverter or whatnot. You want to make it very clear. Click on this button here to get booked in, that sort of thing. Make it very funnel focused. Number two, social proof is key. People do what other people do. For example, if you see that we've been getting loads of installers, loads of meetings with big names like that, then chances are that a lot of other installers are going to want to work with us because we sort of have that social proof element, and it works a treat, honestly. Before we started posting all of our results, and after, it's just completely changed everything. Same for our installers as well. So the people that we work with, and we push social proof massively. Even if you have one or two commercial case studies, you can make your website focus to that to build authority and show what you're doing. Because, for example, with this client here, he didn't have many commercial case studies at all. We based the website around 2 case studies that he had. And you can do this and be perceived as low risk. Because obviously, if you're going to be booked in with someone like the NHS and be progressing to a stage where they're now requesting funding and all that sort of stuff on the hospitals, which we did for this client, then you need to be perceived as low risk to such a big organization like that, because they don't need to take risk. When there's 4,000 odd installers in the UK, they don't need to take risk. So be perceived as low risk. That basically means have social proof, have your accreditations on there, have videos yourself talking on the website, because then that shows that you're a real person, and connect with the customer, basically. Aesthetically pleasing. So make sure it looks good. It doesn't look like you're from the 1980s. Otherwise, they're literally going to think your tech is from the 1980s. So just have an up-to-date website that's from 2024. People will probably just buy more from you because they think your tech's up to date. Not overwhelming. We're past the stage now in branding where you have everything everywhere. Yeah, we do this and this and this and this and this and this everywhere, all over your face. It's not about that anymore. The brands that are really winning is, for example, Apple. They make things extremely, extremely simple. It's just Apple with an apple. And they make their branding extremely simple. But I think that's the key. It's just value. It doesn't need to explain itself. It's just there. It's not overwhelming. It's precise. Do you want to do more commercial? We help business owners in specific location reduce their energy bills by on average this much. Click the button here to book yourself in. Just make it very simple. And this leads on to the next point. Clear targeting. So clearly speak to the end customer and just speak to them. You can have multiple pages for different ideal customers, but if you're looking at specifically commercial, okay, target commercial, speak to them, and then have a separate landing page for residential. You get more out of targeting specific people because you look like the expert and you look like people will feel connected to you because they feel like you're speaking to them. And then this is another thing. So being able to get booked in with these bigger companies requires you having a good sales process. Now, this is a big thing that we dive into with our customers so that we can help them sort of plan the next step in the process, because a lot of these companies don't actually, they say they've been in sales for such a long time, but they're actually just sending out proposals and not getting anything back. So what we look for in the opening of a sale is these few things. So initial email to get in touch with them, or a phone call, either way. So we get the email out. We then give them a call after we find their details and that sort of thing, if they're their phone number on the signature or whatever. We then book them in for a Zoom call, obviously gauge their interest, pre-qual, all that sort of stuff. Book them in for a Zoom call. We then request some information and present a preliminary proposal via a quick Zoom without causing too much friction. Now, this is important because you're gauging interest early on, and you're showing what the numbers could potentially look like, what options there might be available, and you don't want to cause too much friction. You're just sort of giving them some value on the upfront call. And then what we tend to recommend is sort of saying it's subject to site survey and then booking in that site survey on the introductory Zoom. So this is very key. Planning each step of the sales process when you speak to the customer. Don't just end the call, yeah, I'll send it back to my directors. Ask them, do you think it may be a good, this is all subject to site survey. I want to get you a really accurate and detailed design. When do you think is a good time for us to pop round and do a quick site visit? And then you have lunch with them, build that connection, get their WhatsApp, whatever. And you're just planning the next steps in the process. Each step is planned meticulously and progressing in a way, even if it's very slow, you don't want to overwhelm people. So yeah, just having that laid out, I would recommend having a Figma graph laid out so that you can you can plan all these steps, and even the small little steps if you have to do that. But as long as you're moving the sale along, then that's the most important thing. But yeah, I hope you guys gained some value from that. And this is sort of how we've been able to book in some of these big customers for a lot of our clients. So yeah, let me know what you think. Cheers.